Well, I think there's a lot to be said about this portrait of King Charles. It certainly captures his likeness, and it's going to go on display in the Philip Mould gallery. I don't know what you think of Philip Mould, fake or fortune and all that stuff. But, and of course, Jonathan Yeo, the artist, is famed for, quote, his provocative paintings. I don't know what you think of all this red. To me, it smacks of the king being painted in the middle of some sort of nuclear blast, or walking out of a furnace, or caked in blood. I don't understand quite what the symbolism of all this red is. The butterfly, the idea of a butterfly's wings and all that stuff about changing the patterns on the other side of the world. This is an incredibly striking painting. The painter has also done two paintings, at least to my knowledge, of Kevin Spacey, one of him playing Richard, and with his crown at a jaunty angle. And there's no question that the painter is the artist is an extraordinarily talented craftsperson, and that he gets a likeness. There is no question at all about that. But if you compare this painting to, for example, the painting of the Queen, or the painting of Prince Philip, all done by Jonathan Yeo, this has a patina of doom about it, which nobody in the... to pick up an expression from Dan Wootton this morning, MSM, nobody from the mainstream media seems to be referencing. They all seem to be saying, oh, yes, it's look how remarkable it is, look how clever it is, look how well it's picked up the king's likeness. This is a huge 8-foot painting, and when you compare this painting to the paintings of Tony Blair, of David Attenborough, of Malala, they're sort of tamer, and it's something to do with the background, but this is worrying. And it's worrying and grand and impressive and startling. And I'm sure the king was fascinated by the technique, because the technique is simply dazzling. And if the king is wearing regimental colours of the Welsh Guards, that colour has swept through the entire painting. It is distinctive, and it's certainly something different, and it's certainly something personal. But I think it's also peculiar, and it's eventually ending up for the drapers, but it's... I don't see, except for the butterfly, which is strange, and, as I say, has elements of doom about it in itself. I don't see this painting as being a painting about the environment. This painting is a painting about catastrophe. School children who are looking at this in 200 years' time, what clues says the painter can he give to these children? And the king said, what about a butterfly landing on my shoulder? And that's there, but it's bizarre, and the shoulders seem quite narrow. And this is a worrying image. I'd be really interested to know what you think of this. um, and what impression you think this gives. But and I think certainly the Drapers Company, the City of London Livery Company, which has been collecting these royal portraits for centuries, will have a portrait that will cause thought. It's not a conventional portrait. It's not a bland portrait. This, the king is beginning his reign with a statement in art which is as stunning as the Queen's portrait by Freud, by Lucian Freud. And he unveiled it today, and Yeo said this reflects exactly who he is, everything he represents, and what he's been through. And maybe that's true. Maybe that's true, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure it's a positive image.